3, 2, 1, now.
Okay, so before we start, I would just like to say something, okay? Did you know that cows don't have upper front teeth?
What? No, why would... What? How do they eat? What? They don't have upper front teeth?
Why are you asking me that? I'm just sharing an information with you and you think that I read more about that?
I need answers.
Yeah, well,
I need answers.
This is basically the only information that I have. Cows don't have upper front teeth. That's it. I cannot share more.
Do they have upper... But they have upper back teeth.
Yeah.
Because they chew the grass.
Well,
right?
I guess from that statement, I hope so.
Yeah, I guess they don't need the front ones, do they?
Yeah.
Because they're not like, I know they're not like biting off a biscuit or something.
No, exactly. They're just grabbing the grass.
But how do they pick the... Yeah, but how do they grab the grass?
With their tongue.
Oh my god, that just opens up even more questions.
It reminds me of the question. So if cows digest like 4 times, I think, yeah. No, sorry. If cows have 4 stomachs, do humans have 2 stomachs, one for the meal and one for the dessert? Does it work like that too? Is it the same?
Yeah, I think so. It is.
Yeah,
well, I think I have 2 stomachs. I have a normal stomach.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like, food, whatever. And then I have a dairy stomach, which like cheese and milk and ice cream and all those things, that all goes in there.
Yeah, in French...
actually, I have...
as a Frenchman, cheese is blood, basically. So it's not in the stomach, it just goes in there.
That's
directly.
Fortunate.
Yeah, well...
Yeah. I actually realise I have more than 2. I have like the normal food stomach, the dairy stomach, and like a dim sum stomach.
Ah.
4, and sushi stomach, because dim sum and sushi, I can just eat it forever.
So how many stomachs?
Some people are like,
because I definitely
4.
counted as like 10, no?
Yeah. Well, no, it's 4. It's the same as a cow. Maybe that's why cows have 4 stomachs.
Oh yeah, I can clearly see a dim sum stomach in a cow.
Yeah, but they obviously don't. They obviously don't have a dairy stomach because they are dairy, right? That's their grass stomach.
Of course. And now I just have the image of a cow, obviously without front upper teeth, that goes to a sushi bar and just eats indefinitely food and sushi.
Oh Jesus! It's one of those ones where it goes round on a conveyor belt and it's picking it all up with its tongue, like wrapping it around and picking it. Oh.
You can see it.
Oh my god!
And it's just looking at you once in a while. It just turns and looks at you while it chews.
Well, it's because its eyes are on the side of its head, so it's always looking at you. Like you just look up and it's looking at you, and they like barely blink and they have like those black eyes.
Yeah, so it sees the sushi arriving and it just looks in front and it just opens the mouth and the sushi just come in perfectly in time. It's great.
And there's always there's a fly on its eyeball as well, because there's always a fly on a cow's eyeball.
Anyway, I'm sure that's a great sushi bar.
Yeah, it's probably the one that you found near you.
So good.
What's his name goes to it.
Oh, Tom Hardy apparently.
Tom Hardy, yeah.
But apparently he says that to anyone.
Cow.
Yeah, he goes with this cow, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one with the cow. He brings it in on a lead.
So that's the guy who brings the cow. Shit.
Yeah.
It takes so much space. Like, there's only 6 places in that sushi place.
Yeah, I wondered why they were always there at the same time.
Makes sense now. Putain.
Amazing.
So, apart from cow stories, what have you been up to this week?
Oh my god. Busy. Busy weeks. So I had a week off. I actually had a week off, not last week, the week before, which was great. And since then, just been going mental at work.
Yeah. You have a big release coming?
Yeah. Or? Well, we've always got a big release. Startup life. # startup life. Yeah, like we use Firebase.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not really used it before. Before I started this job, I messed around with it for a personal project, but I didn't really get into it. But I've been getting into it, obviously, more because I have to. and it is pretty cool. Like if you can get past the Google side of it, that it's Google and the stories that they're using it to track people even when people say don't track me.
Yeah. Of course.
No, yeah, it's pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, if you don't know what it is, it's like it's basically a set of tools. It's like AWS, like it's easy AWS. It's like pre-configured AWS or almost pre-configured AWS. And they have like SDKs for Android, iOS, web, Unity, I think, and something else. Can't remember what. But it has all like the like Lambda. I think at AWS it's Lambdas, isn't it? But they call them cloud functions. So just like functions that run in the cloud. So a request comes in, it gets the data or does some manipulation, like fires up an instance, does all this stuff, and then just sends the data back and then spins it down.
Yeah.
So we use that quite a lot. Which is cool. And the way we like have it's like a pass-through thing. So we request against the cloud functions, they go off and get the data from other APIs, collate it and send it back. And we don't store anything, which is like, the secure, that's basically our like, I wouldn't say security model because that's not really a security model, but it just takes away that level of like, storing we don't store any personal information. So yeah, I've been getting into that and understanding that a lot more. And one of the other things that works with it really well is a thing called Firestore, which is like a NoSQL kind of document store. I think Mongo was probably the first.
Okay.
That was the first big one really to come out, wasn't it? Mongo. And yeah, just basically battling that because yeah, it's not great. Like with everything Google, it is powerful, it's good, it's built on top of Google Compute Engine, which is fine, but I don't know, it doesn't always feel massively coherent. Some things work, there's like there's these SDKs, but then you have to do loads of CLI stuff to like configure things, and you have to know, and it's like these really nested CLI commands that like gcloud something colon something colon another thing dash only underscore 517 or so. It's like, oh my god, it's just like it's really frustrating because it's like to actually get set up on it, it's really annoying. Once you're set up, it's kind of fine, but like I set it up on my main machine, my desktop, and then the week before I had my holiday, I went with my family, we went to my parent-in-laws, and I was working from there, so I had to set my laptop up with it, and I like forgot like 2 small little config files, and it just became an absolute hassle. But it's good, and like with all these things, it's super complicated, and the documentation is not fantastic. So yeah, I've been learning that a bit more and trying to just kind of figure some of the edge cases, nuances out. The cloud function is pretty cool. I think you can run Node in it. I think you can run Python. They're pretty versatile. They're pretty cool. I'd recommend having a look at them if you've got any little projects that you need, because you don't have to think about scalability. You don't have to think about loads of things. Like it handles it all for you. You don't have to run your service yourself, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's been a while I haven't looked at like Firebase. At uni we built some projects.
Oh, really?
Using Firebase as a database. But it was just very, very... It was like a very simple Android app that was connected then to an Android database, and like this we didn't have to care about hosting anything, and it was just like Firebase was taking care of everything for us. So for a small project it was kind of
and I think you get like a certain amount free or something, don't you? You get a certain amount of usage.
Yeah. And the apps that we were building were so tiny that anyway it was just like some proof of concepts basically. But I didn't follow all the evolution of that project, to be honest. Like I feel I lived a little bit on a cave around kind of that project, because you're mentioning that you can run functions, like function as a service, I guess. Yeah, that sounds cool, but I don't know. I never had use case basically. So
yeah, like the more that it's like with anything, right? Like it's like any, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Like now I'm thinking, of all the ways that you could use cloud functions, and I know Lambdas and AWS had these for years, and like before we worked together, there was even Lambdas were a thing in AWS, and the company that I was at before that, we were looking at them and thinking about using them, but they've matured a lot. Like there is no noticeable time delay on it firing up, like running up an instance. Like there's no noticeable delay in doing that. It's just like making a normal HTTP request.
Yeah, okay.
It's crazy. It's actually quite crazy because the things that we're running are pretty heavy. Some of the transformations on like thousands of records and doing looping through them multiple times, and it still comes back a decent amount of time.
Okay.
Like yes, it's not the best, but considering it's not cached or anything, it's actually pretty insane, really.
Yeah, okay.
And the nice thing is you're just paying for when you actually use it, rather than AWS EC2 or whatever. If you just fire up a instance on that, you're paying for it when it's doing nothing. Whereas this, you're only paying for it when it's actually doing something, which is really good.
Yeah, I guess for those things, the issue comes when you start having more and more users, then you start paying more and more, and then it starts to you start questioning that system. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. But for like startup and quick and small projects, and even just like trying something, I think it's really valuable. I think it's well worth. Like, I think if I were to start a little project now, and I've had an idea for one, and actually the project I started before where I was using Firebase, I would definitely pursue it. Obviously, with anything that I do personally, I start writing it, and then I decide that isn't how I want to write it. I want to change something, so then I write it again, and I just go in this cycle. But I think I always like change the language that I'm using or whatever for the back end. But I think now, with my exposure to Firebase, I think Firebase would probably be like the stable foundation that I would use moving forward.
Because they have a front-end client for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it makes it so easy, yeah.
Yeah, and you can imagine then you can connect that very, very, very easily with Netlify that just hosts your front-end, and then you do all your queries on
Firebase Firebase have hosting as well.
Oh, okay.
So it's like they have everything.
It's been such a long time I didn't read about this project that I should catch up on that.
It's worth a quick look. I can imagine, because there's the whole Flutter thing going on as well.
Yeah.
I imagine that they're going to be pushing it a lot more for use with Flutter. As like a back-end system for it.
Yeah, no, I saw for Flutter, so obviously, you worked on Snapcraft, and you used to work on Snapcraft, and there was the big release of Flutter 2 months ago, and we started seeing popping up applications on the store.
Really?
On Snapcraft.
How many? Roughly how many?
I don't know. I just saw recently there's this guy that released Purple Task, which is like a to-do task, but it's very basic. I'll link the Repo on the description.
Is that the one is that featured on Snapcraft?
It is featured at the moment.
I think I looked at it. Yeah.
But basically, in the description, the person says that it's literally just to try Flutter, and it's cool to see how it integrates quite well. And boom, you get an app super fast that is running on Linux. I haven't tried it. If it runs also on mobile, because that's the idea of Flutter, having cross-platform stuff. So
yeah, when we were looking into it for Snapcraft, when I was working at Canonical, we had a little play with it, and one of the things that we found was that there was a bit of a disparity between the mobile, like it was like 3 tiers really. It was mobile was like first class. They were like, that's what they're focusing on, like Android, iOS, that's what they care about. Then the next thing was desktop, but way more like Mac OS.
Yeah.
And a bit of Windows and kind of Linux. Probably a bit more Linux than Windows, to be fair. And then third tier was definitely web. Because, it is an interesting technology, but as web developers, I'm not that bothered unless it makes a big impact on web, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the issue with that. I find it kind of frustrating to have to rewrite all your application in another language while we took such a long time to write all of our applications in JavaScript. Having to kind of reconvert again to have the experience across all that is a little bit frustrating. And okay, I'm gonna stop now. I need to charge my laptop. I forgot to put the charger.
Okay.
I'll
stay recording. It's fine.
I'll be back. I'll leave it like that. I'll be back in a second.
Jingle, 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 the jingle, jingle, jingle for the podcast.
So, what have you been up to, Mr. Toto?
So, fun story. I adopted a dog recently, who's the cutest animal ever. He's the cutest doggo. He's a good boy. But that dog...
Don't say it too loud. Don't say it too loud. He'll run upstairs.
Yeah, no, I should be careful. But that dog, not only it makes me regress, he's also a bad boy sometimes.
Uh-oh.
So, for now, the metrics that I have about Luca are 2 Ethernet cable of 30 meters that he just chopped in 2. 1 USB-C cable for my phone charging next to my bed, chopped in 2. And a Lenovo charger, chopped in 2.
He's a thrill seeker. He likes the buzz that he gets.
So, okay. On one side, I'm quite worried that, he's going to get... fortunately, all these things wasn't plugged. The Ethernet, I guess, doesn't have... Yeah, it's low power. So, but, it worries me. On the other side, I hate him, but I love him. I don't know what I feel about it.
Right. So the good thing about this is, I don't think it's quite as ethical with children. But with a dog, but people say it's not ethical with dogs either. But you could keep a cost of okay, how much did the Ethernet cable cost?
Oh yeah,
and you can put a value on his badness.
Yeah, yeah. So
you are £42 bad.
Oh no, yeah. At the moment, I think he's not that far. And I don't know the value, the charger. I received it with the laptop, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Yeah. I should do a graph for that, some kind of fun dashboard that shows increasingly how much does he cost. How much does he cost as a bad boy?
Yeah, how much does he cost as a good boy, and how much does he cost as a bad boy?
Yeah. So
good boy is for treats and things.
Yeah, but bigger for treats, they're not that cheap. But yeah. So the issue that I had, basically my router is on the other side of where my desktop is of the house. So what I was doing is I had 1 30-meter cable that was going everywhere into the house, doing the snake around the house. So, but it was on the floor and the dog ate it twice. So I thought, well, maybe it's time to rethink a little bit the network architecture that I have at home. So I decided to try Ethernet over power.
Not power over Ethernet.
No.
Yeah,
Ethernet.
You got it right.
I had to think about it because I keep, we chat quite a lot and I keep fucking missing this, power over Ethernet. Wait, no. Ethernet over power. And
so good.
It works pretty well. In my house, at least. I should have 200 meg of download. Here, I get only 130. So I guess I must lose quite a lot of information on my electrical network. But it's more than enough to work,
That's not, definitely. That's not too bad.
Oh, it's
so I took, yeah.
It's pretty good. It's more than enough, to stay in calls. Like 130, honestly, considering what we had younger, I'm very, very, very happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked before about illegally downloading music at like 5 kilobytes a second or so. I mean, I was good. I had a 52k modem, and I was next to the exchange, so I got 52k.
So I saw friends downloading music at this speed. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Sorry, my next door neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. The next door neighbor that was downloading a lot of
yeah,
and making mistakes sometimes using software that obviously brings you to that leads you to mistakes like LimeWire and other eMule and
yeah. I don't recognize any of those names.
No.
And it's probably worth saying that my neighbor is now in prison.
Yeah, exactly. In the same way that person would steal a car if ends up in prison.
Yeah.
You steal the music and end up in prison. Yeah. It's like that.
Exactly.
It's the rough laws of the internet.
Same.
You know?
Yep. And honestly, I think it should be policed more.
Oh, yeah.
I think people's freedoms and choices should be removed.
So I'm being careful with the sarcastic because I don't know how it's heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I updated all the infra, and it's pretty cool.
Infra, holy shit!
Infrastructure.
That's such a good time to use for your home network. So what have you been doing this weekend? I just sorting out my infra. You know what I mean?
I love talking about it like that because it's literally just 2 plugs that I connected, and I'm like, yeah. I just updated my network infra. Yeah, pretty cool. I have a router connected to 2 plugs.
Yeah, it's like, oh, great. So how did you update your infra? Oh, well, so first of all, I went on Amazon and I looked at reviews, and some of them were just absolutely batshit. This power over Ethernet. This Ethernet over power doesn't cook pizzas for me. It's like, okay, yeah, cool. So I looked at those, and then I just clicked it, and they came the next day, and I plugged them in. That is what I did for my infra.
Exactly. And I loved it. And I felt very much a network engineer, you know? Plugged it.
Did you add it to LinkedIn?
Sorry, you forgot. I plugged an Ethernet cable.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so sorry for disrespecting you so much.
Oh, you better be careful. We're talking big business right now. And you know the worst thing that I'm thinking right now? Oh man, I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna sound stupid. I think maybe it's the cables that are limited to 100. The Ethernet cable that basically they gave me Ethernet cables with that. So I'm wondering if they're the cheap ones that are limited to 100. And
is that? I honestly I haven't networking, the basics. But I have no idea. Is that a thing with cables?
It is actually a thing. That's why I'm wondering right now if...
So I've got one here. What does it say? So it says cat 0.5e.
I don't know. I don't know if it's written on the cable.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It doesn't seem to be.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm looking for though.
Anyway.
All I know is it's got 60 degrees Celsius, so I'm guessing that's what it can go up to before it destroys itself. But anyway.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I'll find it out and talk about it in the next episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Try changing the cables.
That'd be fun.
I'd be interested to know.
I already did the mistake once, basically, where I was like, I was younger. I was like, the Wi-Fi, my internet doesn't go that fast. And I started chatting until I realized that, I was on Wi-Fi and I'm limited by the network chip that I have on my laptop. So as soon as I connected on Ethernet, I was like, oh yeah, actually there's no problem. I'm just being stupid. Well, I didn't think of that, to be honest.
Well, you didn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
I actually did something similar. So recently. So when we moved into this house, there was, so we've got 3 floors. the router is in the front of the house, downstairs in the living room, like under the TV, like the furthest point away from anything useful.
Yeah.
And then there was a cable. Well, that's where we put our router, because that's where the cable, like the internet provider, came in. But the people that had lived there before had done, from that point, they'd done an extension cable under the floor into the dining room in the back, where they then had their router there because they had stuff set up differently, whatever. But then their son lived on the top floor, or like his room was on the top floor, and they had got a really long Ethernet cable that basically wound in like all around the doors and stuff all the way to the top floor. So we moved in. I had my office downstairs, or like on the first floor, so halfway. And I put the cable, that Ethernet cable, and because it went from the dining room, went all the way around, I was like, okay, I can use that Ethernet cable. But because our router is in the front and theirs was in the back, I had to connect that router to that Ethernet cable, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I used Ethernet over power, and it was some like really cheap Chinese ones that I got ages ago when I was at uni to try and like, increase the speed. And back then it was fine. It was Ethernet because, like you say, it was like Wi-Fi was the limiting factor in the early days of Wi-Fi. So it was fine in uni, but like 2 weeks ago, actually, the week that I was on holiday, I was like, you know what? Because I kept doing like speed tests, and I was like, why is it so low? I was getting like 10 meg, and I should get like 100.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I getting 10? What is this about? So yeah, obviously, I moved some stuff around, and now that Ethernet cable goes directly from the router upstairs, and now I get 100. And I've lived in this house for a year and a half.
That's why all of our calls were shit in the back.
Yeah,
at the time.
I know. Constantly thinking, I need to ring Virgin, because why am I not getting the speed I should be getting, but never getting around to ringing? And I am so glad that I didn't ring, because they'd be like,
so,
what the fuck are you talking about?
So what I didn't say in the story earlier is that I called my internet provider. It wasn't me discovering. I actually called my internet provider, and the guy was super cool. Honestly, the guy was like, oh yeah, me too, I wasn't aware. And I don't know, it was a genuine friendly conversation that I had with that guy. And yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun to see that.
And we're friends to this day.
Yeah, I call him every week. He's like, who are you? Stop calling me.
You ring him every week.
And I keep telling him, my name is not who are you, my name is Toto.
Yeah. You just ring him every week and just give him an update on your speed. You do a speed test and you ring him up and you're like, oh, it's okay, the speed's this now.
I just said 103.
I don't care. I don't care. I did that job when I was in uni to pay the bills, but like I have a family now.
Stop calling me at home.
Stop calling at 10 p.m.
And obviously I call him like that, and I'd use this voice. 103. And my upload is 53. Always works. He loves it.
Amazing. Yeah.
Anyway.
Stop. So good.
So yeah, that was my fun little activity of
so
the
basically,
weekend, I guess.
Getting a dog has forced you to learn more about infra.
Infra, exactly. Well, I just say mostly Luca made me upgrade my infra. I think it sounds better.
Amazing. Yeah. It sounds like, yeah, Luca's like a customer and you had to upgrade your infra for the bandwidth.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
But yeah.
To be fair though, like we've talked since you've switched and it's fine. I actually don't notice that much different with this setup.
So where I was going with that, actually, it just came back.
You're welcome.
So I've been walking in the house with my laptop and being like, there's spots where I...
How big is your house?
I
went on a 5k walk with my laptop.
It's a tiny house. It's just I have massive walls and...
really thick walls. Yeah.
Did I say massive walls?
Yeah. It's actually a really tall house. It's like a castle. It's like a castle, like what are they called? Like the turret type things. It goes up really high, but it's really small.
Yes. I have really thick walls, and the problem is, so I'm recording in a room that is not at my desk, my usual desk, and where I sit with my laptop, the Wi-Fi signal is really bad. So what I do now is I unplug the Ethernet plug that I have, and I walk with it in the house. And I just, in the house, in the flat, and I plug it wherever I want to sit with my laptop. So instead of just being with my laptop, I have an Ethernet cable, the plug, and the computer to walk around the house.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably an Apple dongle for that, isn't there? So.
Well, also I'm thinking maybe I should just buy another plug and just put it another one here.
But does it? Yeah. But does it work upstairs? Okay.
Yeah, it works perfectly.
Oh, good. Yeah, because that's always the issue. If your house is, or as far as I understand, I'm also not an electrician, much like I'm not an infra expert. I'm going to use infra from now on.
You're talking to an expert right now, so go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So that's I'm just faking it till I make it. I want you to believe that I am an infra god. But yeah, I believe that like older houses or bigger houses, the electrics are in rings. So like each floor will, each floor will be a separate like ring. So you can't plug in downstairs, one in downstairs and plug one in upstairs, as far as I understand.
So honest answer, I don't know. My guess is my house flat is not that big. So maybe they keep the same network because it's easier. I do not know. I don't.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think it is based on size.
Yeah,
because obviously, like, I mean, obviously, again, I'm not like. Why am I saying obviously? It's not obvious, but I think if there's more plugs, it's dangerous for them all to be together.
Oh yeah, okay.
If you know what I mean? Like for the circuit breaker.
So yeah,
Jesus.
If just in case we have any electricians, we have a Discord server. Come and enlighten us.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was going to say come and turn us on, but no.
No, yeah. Not yet.
How? But okay, we've got a Discord. But Toto, how'd you get to the Discord?
So good question. Go on.
Also, what is Discord? What are you on about? What is Discord?
Discord. Oh wow, that's a difficult question. Discord is just a chat server? How do you describe Discord? Just a place where you can chat with us. You'll find the link on the site teapod.club. You'll find a link to join us and come talk to us directly and come explain us what the fuck do we do with all this electricity knowledge that we have. That was a very long sentence.
Yeah, if you are looking for some professional electricians or infra,
don't come to this one. Oh yeah, okay, come to this one.
No, yeah, come to this one and get our opinion, and we will give you honest opinions on what you should do. So yeah, you can get to Discord. You go to, if you want to go the full route, you can first go to Twitter and go to @418teapod. From there, there's a link that goes to teapod.club, and from there, there's a link that goes to Discord.
Why make it easy?
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, we'll share the links in the description, and see you next time. Peace.
Bye. Bisous.
It's an oven where I am right now. And I think I'm still recording.